It's been a while since we've talked about a fragrance from this house. No games, no funny business. Strap up. We're going for a ride. Welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the afternoon. Guys, it's good to be back. Back with another fragrance from the house of Mont Blanc. This is Mont Blanc's Legend Blue. I got excited when I saw this fragrance, not necessarily because of the house, because I'm going to be quite honest with you. Mont Blanc traditionally I'm not the biggest fan of. A lot of their fragrances have this initial opening blast of harshness that kind of turns into a weird bite on the dry down. And this is for many fragrances that I'm not going to name because a lot of people are going to, get upset with me and this, that, and the third. And I want to wait until we individually review each fragrance rather than just blanket them before they've come onto the channel. But for the most part, Mont Blanc is known to me personally as having a kind of cheap, synthetic, harsh approach to their fragrances where they take great DNAs and screw them up with harshness. Hopefully that's not the case with Mont Blanc Legend Blue. I rarely see this fragrance available for testing, so I'm glad I actually grabbed a sample of this. What else did I want to say? Oh, fragrances from Mont Blanc that I like. Obviously, the most popular one that you guys are familiar with is Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, white bottle. And even though I like that fragrance a lot, I can never really bring myself to purchase it because if I'm not capping, even Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, though great DNA, it does have the tiniest bit of like bitter / harshy tonality to the opening, and it dries down to this kind of almost bitter, winey harshness. It's a lot lighter than most of the other fragrances, but it's still noticeable to the point where I don't want a 100 ml bottle of it. Maybe a travel spray at best. And over the years, it's become more and more generic of a DNA. But that's the fragrance that everybody's familiar with. One that I think is just an absolute sleeper is Mont Blanc's Star Walker. Is that from Mont Blanc? I believe it is. Let me double check. Let's see. Mont Blanc Star Walker? Yes. Star Walker Original, not Star Walker Extreme, I think is a criminally underrated fragrance. Not only does it not have that harshness that I was referring to with many of the other fragrances from the line, but I think a reason a lot of people don't gravitate towards it because on first blast on a test strip, it's very dry, it's very woody and clean citrus, right? Almost like a lemon wedge, like a lemon rind and a lime wedge on some woods. Like it's very simple of a DNA. I believe bamboo also is a note there. I don't really know what to describe as far as the note of bamboo. I just get this kind of woody green citrus, but very dry, very woody. But man, is that one of the most cleanest, masculine, super versatile, simple fragrances that I've come across. And I find that as an older man, I'm getting more attracted to simplification with fragrance. Layering and density is cool, but so many people overdo it that it has moments where it pushes me back to the simplicity. I was just wearing Bentley Absolute, and I was blown away by how much the dry woodiness and incense note, though so simple and so dry, and even an underperformer in many regards, the DNA was just something that I really gravitated towards in terms of just a very profound, clean-cut, manly, masculine fragrance. And so, I think Star Walker is a sleeper for that reason. I'm going to stop blabbing to you guys because we've already hit the 5-minute mark and I haven't even given you guys an initial impression. Star Walker's cool. There are other Mont Blanc fragrances we're not going to waste time to name, but for the most part, maybe only about 10% 15% of Mont Blanc fragrances ever make it across my desk as credible. Now, before the initial, well, let me just give you initial impressions and we'll go over notes because it very conveniently goes over the notes in here. Mont Blanc Legend Blue, which we imagine is going to be a blue fragrance, right? I can thankfully report that there is no super harshness. It's got a bit of tart almost to it, but it's at the same level as Mont Blanc Legend Spirit White Bottle, so I'm not mad at it. It almost has this, it's clean, it's soapy fresh. I don't know if aquatic is the right word. I don't think aquatic is the right deal, but like very aromatic, very light. It almost has like just a soapy vibe to it, but bar soap, you know, almost like a Lever 2000. It's fresh, aromatic, green, woody, but super airy, crisp freshness. Like a gust of wind ran through some cedar, then some greenery, maybe some pine. And then there's just a touch of sweet floral in there, but the floral is so light, white, and airy. I imagine this kind of warms up on skin too, but enough of me blabbing. Let's just go straight to the bottle here, guys. Top notes of lavender and mint. Let's see if it correlates here with the booklet. I don't care about Black Ops Vault Edition. Okay, so the booklet says that it's a linear, meaning it's not listing it as a top, mid, and bottom. It just says spearmint, cedarwood, and ambroxan. I definitely get all three of that on the wearing experience. But yeah, on the chart here, we have lavender and mint. I have to trust the booklet though, because it's directly from the sample house. So scratch that mint and put spearmint. There's lavender, apparently sandalwood and cedar, ambroxan and moss. So what the booklet is not mentioning is the moss, sandalwood, or mint. So maybe it's just like a consolidated version in the booklet. It's not just elaborating, which is why it's not there. But the fact that Fragrantica says mint and the booklet says spearmint is somewhat questionable. I would stick with the fact that this is spearmint, cedarwood, and ambroxan because I get all of that. The lavender, whether you smell real lavender or not, it's just more about this kind of slightly tinted sweetness to the fresh, aromatic, cooling smell. I really think that this DNA is true to the vibe and the DNA profile that I'm getting when I smell this. I get this cooling sensation. I get this aromatic. I get this gust of wind. I get it's soapy clean, but the profile of that soap is very like green, blue, and woody with that cedar. That cedar is so distinct, maybe about 60% of the fragrance. And then the rest, the 40%, is kind of just this blue floral spearmint gust. But I like it. I think it, in some ways, this might be equally as or even more versatile as Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, just because it's got that soapiness to it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, I think, tends to be more sweeter. Like it's like floral. I think there's even a touch of, what is it, red berries or juniper. Let's see. Mont Blanc Legend Spirit Fragrantica. What does this have in it? Grapefruit. Okay. Yeah, so that grapefruit, cardamom, bergamot, pink pepper. There's just a lot going on there. There's two different woods there. It's mossy. I don't get all of that in Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, but it certainly has a lot more going on for it, which can nuance it and be less versatile. This is more just like a clean-cut blue fragrance that's got a soapy and minty vibe to it. So I feel like it's more versatile. I think as a fragrance, you know, if you're a man who likes clean and simple, this would probably be like an 8 out of 10. If you're somebody who's just looking for interesting fragrances, this would be more like a 7 because it's not very, the only thing kind of unique about this is maybe the note of spearmint in this kind of DNA composition of soapy clean. you know, because I can't say that I have any fragrances over there that are in this DNA profile that have spearmint. So if you kind of want this like cooling sensation, this minty ice gum type of profile mixed with like a touch of aromatic woody soap, this could easily be like an extremely versatile 8 out of 10 fragrance for you. But the fact that it doesn't have very much uniqueness to it for me personally, I'm going to keep it at about a 7, like an average 7. I think about fragrances comparatively to this, such as maybe like Bentley Standard, Starwalker. You know, this is close to Starwalker, you know, 7, 8 out of 10. Just, it's hard to really get a 9 or a 10 out of 10 fragrance in the soapy clean category, right? Like, I think about Tom Ford Grey Vetiver, for instance. That's a soapy clean that is way above average because they took the background of that fragrance and just jazzed it up with so much nuance and quality and prestige. But in general, kind of your like $20 to $70 clean fragrances, it's hard for them to really go above an 8 in my book. You know, this kind of like is almost a fresher, more natural take on something like a Club de Nuit Iconic. It smells almost exactly like Club de Nuit Iconic, just less performance, you know. Iconic gets a good deal of performance because the shower jelly aspect of it is really ramped up. So you're going to get 8 hours plus on that type of fragrance. This, you might be lucky to get 4 to 6 hours of good, fresh projection and stuff. But I didn't bring that comparison up to say that like Iconic is better. This is just a more clean, fresher take on it. So it's a little bit dialed back in terms of projection and longevity, but it's fresher because of that spearmint note. You know, it's just got that cooling sensation. It's got an icy vibe to it. So, you know, if you don't have Iconic yet, Mont Blanc Legend Blue is certainly a great option. However, you know, inevitably you're going to come down to a price issue because from a price standpoint, it is better to get Iconic because you're going to get this DNA minus the mint, but you're going to get a lot more projection and longevity, and you just saved yourself probably 4 times the cost. So, but anyways, as far as the Mont Blancs fragrances, I think this is one of the best that I've smelled from them. Sits in the top 3 best fragrances I've smelled from that line so far. And that's not saying much, guys, but I think this is a valid fragrance. Again, it's like it is super reminiscent of Mont Blanc Starwalker as well as Club de Nuit Iconic. So you can either go with those as alternatives and get the same type of deal, or if you're in the business of a designer house or whatever, you know, you're certainly not going to miss out. But I definitely would sample it before you buy it because since it's so linear of a fragrance, you really want to make sure you love it to justify even a 50 ml of this. I think for me personally, I would get like a travel spray, you know what I'm saying? 5-10 ml and just have it in the cut as like a nice nuanced soapy clean fragrance that you can just grab. And this could be an errand runner for sure. This is any season, any reason. This is any age. This is any occasion. However, I would say don't try to dress this up. You know, you're just going to smell like soap if you put a suit on with this. Semi-formal, maybe if you just want to be a clean cut, like sophisticated dress up, but not if you're trying to turn heads, you know, because the more you dress this up with apparel, the more it contrasts it and plays into the idea of soap. Whereas the more casual you are, the more it kind of upgrades to a nice cologne. Because, you know, that's just my opinion, guys. You could take it or leave it. We discussed alternatives. We discussed similarities, occasions. This would be a great after the gym fragrance, school fragrance, errand runner, golf, anything sports related where you just want to freshen up. If you've had a long day and you need to freshen up, this is one for the books. It's gonna do you well. But anyways, I think it's definitely a great fragrance. Make sure you guys are commenting, and subscribing. More importantly, turning on that notification bell so you can get all the latest and greatest from the channel. Again, I think this is a great fragrance. 7 or 8 out of 10. Good middle of the road fragrance. Thank God it's not synthetic or harsh. being that it's a Mont Blanc frag. Let me know if you guys have this fragrance. I don't see this fragrance often, so I was happy to have come across it for the channel to give you guys a review of it, because I do think it is a good fragrance. Yeah, y'all be blessed, man. Until next time, peace.